Good afternoon and welcome to QR5 Cyber. There has been a lot going on with a huge week in cyber in Australia. Peter, your irrational fears of AI replacing your job were clearly unfounded. Today we have the amazing opportunity to catch up with Craig Ford, cyber fiction writer, founder of Cyber Unicorns, and back in Brisbane today after a whirlwind tour of CyberWest in Perth and BSides in Adelaide. Let's go live now with Peter and Craig to discuss the activities and Craig's latest book, Vulcan.
G'day, Craig. How are you going?
I'm great, thank you.
I believe you're back on the ground in Brisbane, so I guess it's good to be home. It sounds like you've had an amazing couple of weeks. So thanks for the opportunity to catch up with you today. I know you've got a lot going on in your life, and you've been traveling around Australia looking after the cyber people around Australia, all the big conferences that have been on this last 2 weeks. And I'm a little bit annoyed that I haven't been to a BSides yet, because when it was on in Melbourne, there was all the students of a particular TAFE college, who I won't name, kind of bought up all the tickets and I couldn't get in. And I was like, they sold out so quickly. So it's kind of like, it's been quite a challenge for me to get to one, and they seem to be getting better and better, but getting further and further away. So I haven't had much luck on the B-sides front. But yeah, I understand you've traveled. I'm not sure my video is actually working properly here, but it should be working out to the stream. But yeah, the third book in the series of Foresight, Shadow, and Vulcan is out on pre-order now, I believe. So we're very keen to hear all about that. It is amazing. It is absolutely amazing. So, Craig, tell us, what have you been up to in the last 2 weeks?
Tuesday last week, I jumped on a plane and headed over to Perth for the CyberWest Summit. Did a keynote there for them on the Thursday morning first up. Had an absolute blast on stage. I quite enjoyed myself, actually. It was really good. Shared a few photos and stuff, but yeah, it was quite a good time. And I did a lot of book sales and a lot of conversations with everything about cyber to my books. It was really good. And then on I think it was Friday morning, I'm a bit blurred. It's been a lot of travel. But on Friday morning, I went to Adelaide for BSides Adelaide, which I did some more book signing, book stuff on all day Saturday. You were the first one to actually get Vulcan, and then I took some copies to both of the events, which I'd done some pre-sales as well for lucky people that were at both of those. So, but yeah, you had number one, so you should be pretty happy about that.
Very good. Do I get a badge for that? Number one fan pin or something?
I'll have to sign it for you if it's not signed already, and do something.
No, I don't know. Yeah, I think it came straight from the factory. So the other two are signed. So so I'm very fortunate with that. And some of the ECU class of 23, I believe, came through your stand at CyberWest. And I know one of my colleagues from ECU gave her first maiden keynote speech, which she was very excited about as well. And I'd love to have her as a guest on the show as well, so to talk about quantum. So and then BSides, there was a lot of going on at BSides. There was a lot of energy coming out of that conference, and I know that the cyber ops people were there, and they did a CTF hacking some space. I believe it's the first space CTF in Australia, and I think Matt Wilcox and the Domain 5 team, the Fifth Domain team, were there as well, and they had some stuff going on. So it sounds like it was huge.
It was a really good event. I think it was around 700 plus over the 2 days. So I think it was quite a good event. It was my first BSides, but I quite enjoyed it, I have to say.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm going to make sure I get to the next one in Melbourne. I think the tickets in Melbourne went faster than the Taylor Swift tickets, so it was like sold out. So because it was on my to-do list, order your tickets today, and it was like bang, they're sold out. So anyway, thanks BSides for everything you're doing. It's awesome, great stuff. So So let's talk about the books. I'm not sure what it takes to be a best-selling author today, but certainly in the cyber genre, you're doing some fantastic work, and we won't give any spoilers away, but one of the things I love about the books is for an Australian audience, you're actually um, you're staging the story with local names that we all recognize, and on balconies overlooking certain cities that are places I've been, and so it kind of draws you into the story. So how are you working that aspect of it into your novels?
I think it was like right from the very start, I wanted to kind of bring those local aspects. I think because all the other books in this kind of genre pretty much are all American based or even UK based, and I wanted that local feel to it and that local sort of flavor, I guess you would say. But I work pretty hard to kind of draw that local connection to it without sort of overwhelming it, so that the readers from the other countries sort of wouldn't enjoy it as much. But I definitely drop in quite a lot of those local places and local tags, and I quite like that side of it. Actually, I think it's good.
Yeah, that's good, and I think the writing style is it's easy to read, but what I find is the pace just like this is meandering. Oh, this happened, that happened. But by halfway through the book, it's bang, 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 bang. It's like, oh, can't put it down. So once you get into the last 5 chapters, you just can't kind of put it down. It's very exciting, and I love the way you build that pace throughout the novel, and it seems like you're ratcheting up the tension and that. I think you do that very well. So, just some feedback from me.
Thank you. Definitely a deliberate ploy from me to try and sort of push that tension towards the end, and set it up for planned at least, I would say, probably another 3 or 4 books if it goes to plan, so that there'll be a few more for you to read coming soon. So
yeah, well, there was a little bit of a cliffhanger, so I know.
I'm deliberately trying not to say anything.
No, we won't go any further than that. But there is a further avenue to pursue, clearly.
Very much so. Yes.
So it's a great read, and I'm not the fastest. Some of my daughters are speed readers compared to me, but I'm not the fastest reader, and I find they're very easy to read and but very compelling as well. So well done, and congratulations on the new book, and I hope that goes really well.
Thank you.
Yeah, tell us a little about Cyber Unicorns.
So Cyber Unicorns is a company I founded with my wife August last year. I think it was 21st of August last year. Essentially, I call myself the head unicorn. I don't like a CEO or a co-founder title, so I think head unicorn's a bit more fun. But essentially, it's a cyber consultancy company where I primarily are doing sort of vCISO, virtual chief information security officer work for clients that I sort of do regularly. But it was born out of a bit of a passion of mine, obviously, to extend the cyber awareness and cyber education that I do, that I started with Katie Randall with the Shadow World, so the kids' education book.
Yep.
So I wanted to do a lot more in that general education space. So actually last week, we soft launched our cyber education platform on our website, where we have packages from mums and dads, seniors, general public, and kids, which we're going to build on over time. And we've got a mobile app in development as well that will make it a bit more easy to use, a bit more fun, a little bit more engaging, which how-to guides and general awareness videos just really kind of make it simple for the non-technical people to learn a little bit about cyber safety. And because I've talked about it for years, like I've been probably the last 3 or 4 years, I've said there's a bit of an issue in that external facing cyber education with anyone not in the industry. So I've decided last year that I was going to stop talking about it. So I did. I jumped out doing the consulting to pay the bills, and hopefully over time I can really push the education level.
Yeah, because I think cyber awareness is a challenging thing, because I think globally the cybersecurity education or awareness is like in the $3 or $4 billion of market share, but still 75% of cyber attacks come from people clicking on links. And we often talk about the big four, password manager, strong password, multi-factor, and don't click. And we kind of do those four things over and over and over again. And I think what I'm sort of trying to get involved in, and through Capture the Flag, where the more experiential and tabletops and experiences, if you do those correctly, people will run out of the room to change a password because they can see that's a problem, right? So I think this whole space. I'm very excited about what you're doing here, because it's quite an interesting space, and I think a lot of people sort of think the awareness training, if it's too canned and people go through it over and over again, they kind of just it goes over their head and they lose interest. So yeah, I think really engaging people is the key, and I'm glad to see you doing that. So yeah, great.
Agree.
Well done.
I definitely have to agree, and I think probably trying to use some of my story-like style a little bit through some of the education, I think will help pull people in and sort of give it a buy-in and make them sort of sink in a little bit more. I think would be great, but yeah, work in progress, definitely.
Yeah, absolutely. So that sounds fascinating, and I think the work you've done with Katie, sort of through Shadow World, has helped younger generation to understand the dangers of being online, and we've seen a lot of discussion in the last week coming out of the budget and other initiatives about people who want to change the age access to social media and all those kind of things, which is an interesting conversation to have. But I think quite often, because I'm doing a lot of work, as you know, at the moment in the neurodivergent sort of people with autism, and people who are 10 to 13 can go onto the internet, go down a very dark hole very quickly if they don't have, some, I won't say guardrails around them, but, maybe some parental support. But certainly in Shadow World, you've got that fantastic, sort of discussion about how young people can really engage safely and be aware and know what's going on around them. So,
and I think that's kind of key. I think particularly like with the Shadow World aimed at from that 7 to about 13-year-olds. Like I think if we start at that nice young age and really give them that sort of education and that knowledge, they can navigate a little bit more safely and understand some of those risks. I think we can prevent a lot more of those issues. So I think it's really about starting that sort of journey early and not leaving it till they get to about 12 or 13 and then going, oh, now what do we do? Because they've already started to do that. They've already got the bad habits. But yeah, definitely nice early start, given the right education. I'm not a huge fan of the banning access. I think, yes, age restrictions, which some of the platforms do have age restrictions, but I think it's more around giving them that right knowledge and, a bit of that parental support. Like you said, I think if we can get some of that, given that right knowledge, given that parental support, I think there'll be a much better path forward for everybody. But yeah, it's a very, very strong debate. I found that there's definitely strong arguments on both sides. I feel I lean towards more knowledge than restriction, but I think a little bit of both. You can't just be 100% either side. I think it does have to be a little bit of both.
Yeah, that's great. And so just coming back to Adelaide for a minute, there's a lot going on in South Australia with defence and space in cybersecurity. I know there was the first Space Cyber conference last year, which I jumped on a plane like you and just shot over because I had to be at that. And Daniel Floriani and Brett Biddington were there running an amazing show. And it was a really great 2 days, and they had some amazing presentations. And when the deputy premier has space in her portfolio, that the state government's fairly serious about that. And you've got Professor Jill Slay out of University of Adelaide, who's got a whole heap of PhD candidates there, which are doing really great work. And the whole Australian Space Agency is kind of an evolving ecosystem in South Australia. So I'm very following that with a lot of interest, and I was very interested to see some of the stuff coming out of BSides there with that. And yeah, critical infrastructure.
It was a really awesome event, actually. I have to say, the community and the people that were going there, and just the connectivity and how much they wanted to share and sort of learn from each other. I think it was a really great vibe. I have to say, it was a really good event.
Yeah, so we're watching that space, and I'm catching up with a few of the crew from CyberOps soon. I'm pretty sure, because I'm going to be writing an article in my blog in the next probably 48 hours about the whole space vertical in Australia, and I've been sort of reconnect all the energy that came out of Adelaide. Sort of, I've been meaning to write about this for a while, so I need to pump that article out while it's all fresh, and we'll have a chat to include some of that content. So anyway, anything else you want to cover off, Craig, before we close off? I know you've got another appointment coming up, so.
Yeah, it's sitting here in the Gold Coast. This is the motel room I'm sitting in, so ready to go to OSCERT this afternoon. So.
Oh, okay. So
anyone?
Yeah. So OSCERT, I kind of. There's so much going on. It's just hard to fit it all into the calendar.
It's chaotic. It is. It's chaotic.
So, yeah. So I think certainly would have loved to be there. I think I know Will alerted me to it a while back, and I didn't close out the loop and make sure I booked a ticket to it, because I got a fair bit on myself this week. So yeah, what are you doing at OSCERT?
I'm delegate most of the time, but I'm doing a fireside chat tomorrow afternoon. I think it's about 2:20. I think tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, so there you have it, for people. If you're at OSCERT tomorrow, 2:20, you can catch up with Craig. And will you have some of the books there as well?
I didn't bring too many. I do have 4 or 5 copies of the new one, but no book signing at this one. So thought I'd give my hand a little bit of a rest from all the signings. So.
Yes. Oh, that's good. So yeah, we might just wrap it up there for today, and really appreciate your time, Craig. I know you're a very busy guy, and one of our great, very much on the front line cyber leaders here in Australia. And I know you're a proud Queenslander, and, and you get around the country and share, so generous with your time around the country. So I appreciate that. And so we will wrap it up here and put up the trailer. I'm hoping my camera's been freezing a bit here because of lack of memory issues, but I am hoping that